Assalamu alaikum, I am your sister Naomi Saif. Today I wanted to talk about beauty and what defines beauty. What inspired this message was an experience that my daughter and I got to share, alhamdulillah, together. We were a part of the LA meetup, Defining Beauty Season 2 finale. And inshallah, I don't know when Season 2 is not even up yet, but we are part of Season 2 along with a lot of other women that showed up, alhamdulillah. And we got to meet Shameless Maya, Taryn Guy, Nick Scott, and that chick Angel. And mashallah, it was a beautiful experience. It was really, really nice. And I'm glad I got to share it with my daughter. My daughter is not a hijabi. She's 13. And I feel that the place that she's in her life right now is the place of awareness and of educating herself as to who she is, because I know what it's like to grow up in a world that, as we see now, you don't match up to the propaganda and the world's image of beauty. And so I like to use this time with her for her to embrace her hair, her skin, her body type, her culture, her religion, her strengths, her weaknesses. And I think that, inshallah, through that is where she'll be able to define beauty, as well as myself, constantly, becoming aware of who you are. And I think that's very important, because being Muslim and wearing hijab, I think that a big misconception is that women who cover don't care about what they look like, especially our hair, especially those of us of African, Afro-Caribbean, black descent, that we don't care. And we absolutely do care. And I feel that channels and messages such as the ones that the sisters that I just mentioned have, especially when it comes to the hair and things like that, like it shows how beautiful it is, the different textures, the different things that you can do with it. I think that it empowers us. I know it did for me, and it has for my daughter, and it has for so many other women. So I think that in the quest to define beauty, again, it begins with awareness. And I'm not just speaking out, we're outwardly, inwardly as well, but we can't ignore. Allah made us with different skin textures and skin tones and hair textures and body shapes. He did it on purpose, so that we can get to know one another. That's what the Quran says. But how can we get to know one another if we don't know ourselves? I grew up as a Puerto Rican in Chicago feeling like, why do I look black, right? Because I was being told that I'm not black, I'm Puerto Rican. No, I am black. I'm a black Puerto Rican. And so I spent a lot of my teenage years, trying to curling iron and a bunch of burnt marks and straighten my hair and trying to look more Spaniard, when I should have, and later on I did, been taught to just love what you have, become aware of what you have, love it, be educated on it, and then, and only then, when you embrace it and you accept it, will you begin to feel protective and want to preserve it, And that is, inshallah, one of my intentions with my daughter. I want her to, inshallah, as she grows up, and when Allah guides her, she grows to wear hijab in the future, I want her to put it on because she wants to, and it's not to cover, like, oh, I don't want to do my hair anymore. Or it's just an obligation I'm being forced to. No, that's not even Islamic. But staying on topic, I want her to look at what Allah has borrowed to us, because all this is borrowed, and find the balance, and as well as myself, is to find the balance in what defining beauty is. And beauty is a combination of it all. It's not just your personality. It's not just what you look like in the outside. It's not just how you treat people. It's a combination of it all, because it all equates to your character. You know, it all equates to your character. You put all those things together and that defines you. And inshallah, that would define beauty, you know. And then with, again, in the balance of it all, being aware that, again, these things are borrowed to us. I have nothing to do with how I look because I didn't create myself, you know. God did, and tomorrow he can take it away, you know. May God protect me, I mean. You know, we have some of us, you know, we take what Allah has borrowed to us and we want to take credit for it. You know, I look good, look at this, look at that. Like we can't even you know, create an eye. We can't, you know, we can't do anything, you know, aside from these artificial things. But you know, so in our quest to define beauty, and you have to define beauty, especially if you're raising children, you have to show them that they're beautiful, not in an arrogant way, but just in a way to give them some confidence. Everyone is different, and you find your strengths and your weaknesses, and you learn to embrace them and accept them. And inshallah, it will, again, like I said, equate to your character, which will be something beautiful, which will, inshallah, remind people of Allah. And He is beauty. He is the fashioner. So, like I said, I am so grateful that I was able to experience that with my daughter. And when the vloggers came out, alhamdulillah, this wasn't filmed, I did start crying because my daughter loves Shameless Maya. And if you're a mom and you can relate to this, you know, when you don't have a lot of money, you don't have, you know, I have 5 kids, and you know, my husband is the only one that's really working consistently now, and you know, alhamdulillah, we're good, alhamdulillah. But I've been a mom for 19 years, and I always felt like it's never enough. I can never give my kids enough. And one time when my oldest, who was 19, when he was like 3, maybe 2.5, I forget, my cousin and I took him and her daughter to see Barney live. And when Barney came out, we started crying because we were like, oh my goodness, we never had this growing up. Like, we were lucky if we were able to get on some rides at the Puerto Rican parade, you know, aside from just walking around. So, you know, so when she cried, I was like, oh, you know, I was just happy. You know, you're happy when your kid is happy, you know. But I just saw her, and she was looking around all these beautiful women that looked like her, different shades of African, you know, different shades of these afros and hair textures, and she, you know, was walking. She was the only kid. There was a 15-year-old there also. Jasmine was the youngest, and I was the only hijabi, of course. So I was like, well, alhamdulillah, it was really cool. So, you know, again, it's like we, you know, especially on YouTube, we have sisters, you know, we have people that comment, the haram police, and, you know, and I know people have the best of intentions and stuff like that. Allah, when He made women, he knew that He was making something beautiful. And the Quran mentions multiple times about us beautifying ourselves and guarding our modesty, you know, but wanting to be beautiful and pretty, not arrogant and conceited, is kind of a part of our nature. And as long as we're doing that, of course, within the boundaries, and not only in the boundaries for those of us that are Muslim, to be modest and you know, keep it, especially when we're out in public, but with just it all, you know, embrace it, you know, embrace it, and you know, just find yourself. You know, I apologize, I'm kind of rambling everywhere, but I feel it's so important. You know, even when we come to Islam, or when we start practicing Islam, we think our daughters are safe. No, your daughter could still want to be like so-and-so, acting crazy just with a scarf on. You know, they could still have image problems, piling on pounds and pounds of makeup. They could still have low self-esteem while still going to Quran class, you know. So, and again, especially with us of African descent, I'm Puerto Rican, and I have been told by so many people, you're not black, you're not black. You ain't gonna tell me that I'm not black. I'm Afro-Rican, I am Spaniard, I am African, I mixed even with a little bit of Arab, you know. So in order to define beauty, in order to define even we have to put in the work. You know, don't focus so much on what so and so is doing and what they look like and how they got their hair like that. You know, like the YouTubers that I mentioned, you know, mashallah, they're beautiful at embracing what they have and giving different techniques, but they're giving it from them, you know. So that should inspire us, like, okay, she messed around and did some things, let me try it out myself, and if it doesn't, you know, it should really encourage us to do that same type of work for ourselves. So again, check out their channels, Simply Bianca, Alexa, Shameless Maya, Taryn Guy, Nick Scott, and That Chick Angel. And inshallah, you will see Jasmine and I, along with, maybe just for 2 seconds, I don't know, you know, it's not like we were special guests or anything like that, but inshallah at the season finale of Defining Beauty Season 2. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.